On a cold night in a small office in New York, Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump were discussing how to make yourself rich in bad times. They talked about how increasing your financial IQ and education is the key to overcoming fear, and the equation of wealth equals energy. As they discussed, the two men realized that in bad times, those who have the mindset to use their energy and knowledge will come out on top and become rich. They knew that they had to take the steps now to ensure their success in the future. How can increasing your financial IQ and education help you to become wealthy? What steps can people take to make themselves rich even in bad times? How can knowledge and energy be used to create wealth? What are the implications of the equation wealth equals energy? Tune in to find out. In this video, How to Make Yourself Rich, from the best-selling book, Why We Want You to Be Rich, Two Men, One Message, by the great authors Robert Kiyosaki and US President Donald Trump. Get ready to expand your mind, learn valuable lessons, and gain a deeper understanding of the principles that drive successful individuals. You'll not only gain knowledge, but also practical guidance to apply in your own life. Unleash your full potential with a Rich Mind channel, where you'll discover valuable insights and knowledge from renowned authors and speakers from around the world. Whether you're looking to improve your professional skills, achieve success, or build wealth, this channel is dedicated to providing you with the tools and resources you need to reach your goals. Join us on our journey to success and subscribe today. Let's learn and grow together. How to make yourself rich. Robert's view. Solve problems. If you want to become wealthy, the key is to solve problems. Every generation faces its own financial challenges, and the solutions to these problems are unique. For example, the World War II generation dealt with a depression and a world war, and their solution was to get a secure job with benefits, retire at 65, and enjoy their golden years. Many of them also had a defined benefit pension plan, savings, Social Security, and Medicare. As a result, they were able to survive financially. Today, however, the solutions required to deal with financial issues are much different. Education is still important, but it is no longer enough. Instead, individuals must now be creative and innovative in order to identify and solve problems in order to become wealthy. The baby boom generation faces a different set of financial problems than previous generations. A good college education and a good job are no longer enough. Jobs are being exported overseas, and fewer companies are offering defined benefit pension plans due to their high cost. Instead, companies are moving towards defined contribution plans, which shift the responsibility of retirement savings onto the employee and do not guarantee a set amount of money upon retirement. In 1974, due to changing global markets, many companies stopped offering defined benefit DB plans and switched to defined contribution DC plans, which are now the norm in the United States. To cope with these issues, individuals must be creative and innovative in order to identify and solve problems in order to ensure a secure financial future. As 401k, IRA and Kiyosaki plans. Let me explain this plans. 401k plans are a type of defined contribution plan, which means that employees can make regular contributions to their retirement savings from their paycheck. Employers may also choose to make matching contributions. The money in a 401k plan is invested and grows tax-free until it is withdrawn. For example, if you contribute $6,000 to your 401k plan, your taxable income will decrease by the same amount. Additionally, the money in the account can grow tax-free until you withdraw it at retirement. Additionally, you can take advantage of employer matching contributions, which can provide an extra boost to your retirement savings. Individual retirement accounts (IRAs) are a type of retirement plan that allows individuals to save for retirement by investing in a range of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and other investments. Contributions to IRAs are typically tax-deductible, and the money grows tax-free until it is withdrawn. Kiyosaki plans are tax-deferred retirement plans that are available to self-employed individuals or unincorporated businesses. They are either defined benefit or defined contribution plans, and the money in the plan grows tax-free until it is withdrawn. My generation's problem is that a defined benefit DB plan is a true pension plan, while a defined contribution DC plan is not a true pension plan, but rather a savings plan. This problem is shared by many other countries, which may use different terms for their DB and DC plans. In simple terms, a DB plan will provide you with retirement income for as long as you live, while a DC plan will provide income only for as long as there is money in your account. This is why USA Today found that the greatest fear among Americans is running out of money during retirement, as this is more likely to be an issue with a DC plan than a DB plan. Notice, the baby boom generation is the cohort of people born between 1946 and 1964. It is the largest generation in the US history, with an estimated 73 million people born during this time period. The baby boom generation is often characterized as hardworking, ambitious, and entrepreneurial. They have had a significant impact on the economy and culture of the United States and have been credited with the development of the modern consumer society. Most of us are aware of the fact that the baby boom generation is not well prepared financially for their retirement years. This leaves their successors, Generation X and Y, with the burden of having to manage not only their own financial difficulties, but also those of their parents. The situation is further complicated by the fact that people are living longer, leaving future generations with the responsibility of dealing with the financial issues of their grandparents as well. Furthermore, the current economic and political situation has resulted in the United States owing the highest amount of debt in history, making the burden on Generation X and Y even heavier. With all this in mind, it is clear that the financial decisions made by the baby boom generation will have far-reaching consequences for those who come after them. By living longer, we may expect to extend our working years by retiring later. But what if we live longer and are not able to continue working? The sheer scale of the financial issues that have accumulated, now totaling trillions of dollars, is a cause for concern. Passing the buck on to the next generation only exacerbates the situation, making it more difficult to solve. As the complexity of the financial issues increases, the need for a high level of financial acumen and understanding becomes even more pressing. We must come together and use our collective intelligence to tackle this problem head-on. Everyone has money problems. If you want to make yourself rich, identifying a problem creates the opportunity for creating a solution. Robert Kiyosaki, worst of all, repeating the cover headline of Time magazine, October 31, 2005. The Great Retirement Ripoff. Millions of Americans who think they will retire with benefits are in for a nasty surprise. How corporations are picking people's pockets with the help of Congress. The lack of financial literacy in our education system makes it easy for unscrupulous individuals, even those in positions of power, to exploit the unsuspecting. This perpetuates the problem, creating a cycle of exploitation and financial hardship. We must do better in educating our citizens about the importance of financial literacy so that they can make informed decisions and protect themselves from those who wish to take advantage of them. Tell me about it. Donald and I are hoping that we are wrong, but we firmly believe that the United States is in difficulty. If this is the case, it implies the world is in trouble as well. One of the most significant issues the world currently faces is the rising cost of oil. Oil is the lifeblood of the global economy, and if its price is too high and no better substitute is found soon, the global economy will suffer greatly. As Donald said to me one day, if gasoline costs $5 a gallon at the pump, it does not affect you and me that much. But if you're earning $10 an hour, then $5 a gallon will take food from your family. He went on to say, oil affects everything in our economy, and the problem is we're running out. Prices will only go higher. You and I will be okay, but millions of people will be hurt by it. If oil goes to over $100 a barrel, and I believe it will sometime in the near future, the economy will suffer, but you do not have to. When confronted with the financial difficulties that lie ahead, some people respond by trying to ignore them. Others insist on maintaining a positive outlook. However, the best response is to face the problem head-on and strive to be part of the solution. By taking action and being proactive, we can help find solutions to the issues we are facing. When I talk to people about some of the financial challenges ahead, I get different responses. One common response is, "Don't tell me about it." Another response I get is, "We need to think positively. All this negativity is bad, or God will solve the problem." These responses are from people with low financial IQs. Rather than facing the problems head-on and asking, "How can I profit from these problems?" they would rather stick their head in the sand. And this is why millions, possibly billions, of people will be hurt in the coming years. Instead of looking at the problem as an opportunity, they choose to put their blinders on. Wealth equals energy. My rich dad taught me, soon after the first oil crisis in 1973 to 74, that oil and wealth were directly related. He would often say, wealth equals energy. Since I was an apprentice at Standard Oil, on their tankers, beginning in 1966, I had an interest in oil. Rich Dad's explanation was a simple one. He said, when the price of energy goes down, our wealth goes up. The equation looks like this, and for most people, when the price of energy goes up, our wealth goes down. The year 1974, the same year I started my business career as a brand new Xerox sales rep, proved my rich dad's theory correct. In 1974, high oil prices had caused the economy to contract. People were not renting Xerox copiers. Instead, they were canceling their rental contracts. My first sale as a new rep found me on my knees in front of the customer, begging, not selling. I was begging the customer not to cancel his rental agreement. I remember one customer saying to me, "Why should I keep the copier? My business is gone." This is just a small example of what happens when the price of energy goes up. Instead of making money in my first 2 years, I actually ended up owing money to Xerox. Every time a customer canceled a machine, the commission that had been paid to me was taken back, leaving me in debt. It was a struggle to survive, and I nearly got fired multiple times during those 2 years. Bad times can make you rich. My sales training was invaluable even during a time of economic decline. I was able to use my knowledge and skills to help my businesses succeed, thanks to my understanding of the importance of sales and marketing. This gave me a competitive advantage in a difficult market, allowing me to achieve success despite the downturn. As Donald Trump and I often say, if you are in business, you need to learn how to sell. Increasing my financial IQ. My rich dad suggested I increase my knowledge of the oil industry due to the shortage of oil at the time. I had prior experience with Standard Oil as an apprentice and ship's officer, so it was easy to gain more information. I then took a part-time job with an Oklahoma-based oil company that specialized in oil and gas tax shelters. These tax shelters allowed investors to receive a 4-to-1 tax break for investing $100,000. This gave me the opportunity to learn more about the industry, as well as to take advantage of an investment opportunity. In this instance, an investor could take advantage of a tax write-off of $400,000 for a $100,000 investment in oil production. This enabled the investor to make more money from oil production and pay less in taxes, contributing to the growing wealth of the wealthy. Through my experience selling these oil and gas tax shelters, I learned that not everyone was negatively impacted by the oil crisis. I saw how the wealthy were thriving while the less fortunate were struggling, and this experience was a turning point for me. It opened my eyes to the world of wealth and made me realize that I too wanted to be wealthy. The lesson: take a look at the equation. The harsh reality is, as energy prices go up, the wealth of the nation goes down, except for those with the financial IQ to invest wisely. Yet, if you are rich, your equation can look like this. My choice to invest in oil and gas partnerships was driven by my desire to join the ranks of the wealthy. Even though the tax breaks are not as generous as they once were, they are still attractive enough to make them worth pursuing. Oil exploration ventures offer a great opportunity to take advantage of the energy equation, allowing investors to reap the benefits of the ever-changing market. Even though the market is volatile, investing in oil and gas partnerships can still be profitable, as long as investors stay informed and keep up with the current trends. Today, I continue to invest in oil and gas partnerships just as I was doing back in the 1970s and 1980s. For the $100,000 I invest today, while not receiving a 4-to-L write-off like I did in the past, can still receive a 70% write-off plus a 15% depletion allowance. That means I receive a $70,000 tax break when I invest, and for every dollar of income, I also get a 15% tax break, which means I earn more and pay less in taxes. Try getting that with savings, stocks, bonds, or mutual funds. Knowing how to earn money and pay less in taxes is financial intelligence. The trick for me was to find an honest oil company. As my rich dad said to me years ago, the definition of an oil man is a liar standing next to a hole in the ground. You can also substitute gold miner for oil man. My books, games, and investments have provided me with a great deal of wealth, but the bulk of my fortune comes from my gold mine in China, silver mine in South America, and real estate and oil partnerships in the United States. Every time a reporter asks me, "Isn't the best way to get rich to write a book about getting rich?" I chuckle. In reply, I simply say, if you think writing an internationally best-selling book and creating an educational board game is easy, why don't you do it? In my opinion, it's much easier to find oil or gold than to write a best-selling book. Donald Trump and I write books because we are very concerned that Americans and people all over the world are in for turbulent financial times ahead. We hope we are wrong. Our fear is that, without the right financial education and planning, millions of individuals could suffer financial losses due to the turbulent economic climate. Our advice is, with the right financial knowledge and preparation, you can improve your financial literacy and navigate the choppy waters to come out wealthier than before. Donald's view. Education replaces fear. Roberts and my messages. With the proper financial education and planning, you can ride out the turbulence of what is happening in our financial world today, and through this education you can become richer by finding ways to solve the problems. I am reminded of a simple example of problem solving. When Robert came to my office recently to talk about the book, I had a red chair in the middle of my office. I asked him how he liked the new chair and how much he thought it cost. He was standing there looking at this elegant, fabric-covered dining room chair, and finally said, "I have no idea. I loved it." Mike, my golf course manager in California, called and said he needed 150 chairs for the restaurant, and that he had been quoted $1,500 for each chair. That sounded very expensive to me, so instead of simply agreeing, I made a few calls. "It cost me $90, I said quite proudly. "It's a fabulous chair. It's the best. Here, sit on it. And it's a better chair than the $1,500 one." Do you know how much money I saved just by making a few phone calls? It's a matter of leadership and the ability to solve problems. If my staff thinks I spend money carelessly, then they will spend money carelessly. I'm not afraid of spending money, but I'm also not a fan of wasting it. I believe that buying the best you can get at the best price is the way to go, so I strive to do that. I've seen firsthand how people can struggle financially if they try to be too cheap. Even when I was going through a tough financial time, I still paid my employees a fair wage. That's why I'm always looking for the best deal when I buy something, so I'm not taken advantage of. I'm setting an example for my team, so they understand that it's not about being cheap. It's about getting the best quality for the best price. I want my team to strive for the same level of excellence. We need to remember that hard work is the best way to overcome excuses. By taking the time to really understand the situation we're in and using our critical thinking skills, we can come up with creative and innovative solutions. Making an effort to think outside the box and rise above complacency can help us reach our goals. Problem solving is education at its best. Just as understanding can replace hatred, education can replace fear. Ignorance can be easier, but it is often the result of fear. As Robert Frost said, "There's nothing I'm afraid of like scared people." Reduce your fear and fuel your courage. I like Robert's diagrams, and when I look at his wealth and energy arrows, I think of how our individual energy can create wealth. If you have the perseverance to move forward with momentum, that is a great force of energy in itself. And with the right focus, it's likely you will succeed. I always liked Alexander Graham Bell's statement, "Concentrate all your thoughts upon the work at hand." The sun's rays do not burn until brought to a focus. Taking control of your energy and harnessing it in a constructive way is the key to creating and controlling your own wealth. This means having a clear understanding of your goals and objectives, as well as having the mental discipline to stay focused and motivated to achieve them. Discernment is essential in order to make sound decisions and to avoid being taken advantage of. Leaders have the insight to predict the inevitable and make decisions based on the best possible outcome. Problem solving is one of the most important skills to have in order to achieve success. Instead of viewing problems as obstacles, it is important to view them as opportunities to learn and grow. By approaching problems with a positive attitude, you can use the energy generated to create solutions and move forward. Additionally, it is important to remember that there is always a solution to a problem, and it is important to stay creative and open to new possibilities. I say inevitably with confidence because I know that's a fact and I know it from experience. Confidence is a key factor in gaining courage, and fear can be dispelled when it is faced head-on. Robert has expressed that a difficulty can yield a solution. A very true statement, and I agree. If you start looking at your problems as potential opportunities, I'm sure you can find a way to resolve them. I have faced some huge challenges, like billions of dollars of debt, yet I have never been declared bankrupt and I am more successful than ever today, so I am speaking from experience. People often overlook the fact that Trump Tower did not just suddenly appear on the Manhattan skyline one day. It has been a recognizable landmark for many years. When I decided to build my building at the Tiffany location, I had to face and overcome a lot of barriers. Initially, I tried to purchase the Bonwit Teller store and building, but they thought my proposal was too outrageous. I didn't give up, but it took me 3 years before I was able to make any progress. Then, I wanted to buy the air rights above Tiffany's, which would allow me to construct a much bigger building. Even after I got the air rights, I still had to acquire a small piece of land that was necessary in order to comply with zoning laws that mandated a minimum of 30 feet of open space behind any building. This required further investigation and negotiations. Moreover, my architect Scott and I examined roughly 4 dozen designs, selecting the most suitable components from each one to create the final design. We had to receive approval from the city and obtain zoning variances for the design. This is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the history of Trump Tower. None of these tasks were straightforward, yet I looked at them as a challenge and relished working out the details. If I had seen it any other way, I could have been easily discouraged, but instead I have a stunning building that is renowned around the world. Was it worth it? Yes, and it's a great example of problem solving. Another interesting story about Trump Tower is the name itself. I have learned that what is essential can sometimes be invisible to the eye. That's where discernment comes in. Donald Trump. After considering the name Tiffany Tower for my new building due to its location, I was asked by a friend why I would name it after another famous figure. His question made me think, and in the end, I decided to call the building Trump Tower. Robert and I realized that problems can be complex and, at times, seemingly endless, but we want to encourage you to see them as challenges that will give you a chance for great achievement. Remember, nothing is easy, but who wants nothing? Your financial intelligence is greater than that. The next video, why we want you to be rich.